Om Shanti. Today Baba in the Murli is talking about a clean and pure intellect. And I was just thinking today, so you see that our whole experience of life is through the buddhi. Everything that we experience in the inner world is based on the quality of our buddhi. And Baba says that Ravan made you have a stone intellect. And when we became vicious, so that viciousness, especially engaging in lust, it corrupted our buddhi, or there was it tainted our buddhi in such a manner that our buddhi became very limited and became very materialistic. And you see, if you observe over 1 or 2 generations also, so if you look at the trend, maybe 30 years from now, from 30 years until now. So I remember that 30 years back also, there was, so relationships were more important than money. So people valued relationships and probably, their reputation. So I used to hear this a lot while growing up, that we have a reputation to live up to. And if you cheat somebody or deceive somebody, then people will figure out, and that won't be good for our image, and we don't want to do anything that will spoil our reputation. Or while growing up, we were told that take care of your parents' reputation. But now it's all about money. So even the relationships or the reputation has taken a back seat. So people think that if I'm rich, that's all. So now it's, cheat, steal, whatever you do, you just earn the money and get rich. So it's become like that now. And the world is, I think the world is not changing. It's not like the world changes and then we change. It's how Ravan is slowly, gradually taking control of the buddhi. And then the world being what it is, we keep taking from the world, or we keep registering in our buddhi different things according to the impurity of our buddhi. And then our buddhi makes choices and makes decisions, and it discerns, decides. And then the final product of our actions is creating the physical reality. So basically, Ravan's job is very easy. So Ravan just casts an illusion on our buddhi, and such a shadow is there on our buddhi that we cannot see anything other than the object of our lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed. So just like if you have a colored spectacle, colored glasses on your eyes, then it prohibits you from seeing anything in its true color. So it's like that. So Ravan has kind of changed our whole vision and our capacity to see the whole reality. And that's what an unclean and impure intellect is like. And it is very interesting that if I have an unclean and impure intellect, then I'm limited by it. And I really cannot figure out I have an unclean and impure intellect because that's all I have and I see through it. So, and there was this very interesting incident where at one point of time I was telling Badi Didi that, this sister or this person is so clever that they always do what is in their selfish interest, and they are quite clever to do that. But when it comes to doing any seva, they act like they don't understand. Okay, so then Didi told me something very interesting. She said, and you know what? The interesting thing is they're so clever that they don't even know they are clever. And until and unless, and nobody can teach anybody other than Baba. Because Baba, everybody has the teaching, but not the quality of the teacher. So again, that soul can only learn from Baba, just like we are also blind to our limitations. Everybody is blind to their limitations. And we cannot change ourselves until we can see our limitations. But seeing your own limitations is very difficult until and unless we allow Baba. So, the only way the only way, there is no other way, there is only one way through which we can see our limitations and work on them, and that is surrender to Baba's Srimad. And again, that's a matter of fortune. So it's a matter of fortune that it sometimes, it's just who we are and our destiny that makes us surrender to Baba's Srimad. And we start waking up at Amrit Vela, we start churning what Baba is telling us, we start listening to the Murli, we start meditating, we start taking breaks in the day for traffic control and looking inside. We start practicing being bodiless for minutes in the day. And all of these practices allow Baba's light to enter us, enter the buddhi and clean it. And then slowly, gradually, we are able to see that which was not visible earlier. So, although ever since we come to Baba from day one, we listen to knowledge. But the knowledge doesn't sit in our buddhi. So it's like this sieve which has very big holes, and the knowledge just flows right through it. And it's very interesting, there was this brother, and he was a big shot in the world, and he earned huge sums of money, and anybody you ask would say he is very intelligent. And after listening to 3 pages of the Murli, if you ask him what do you remember, he said, it is surprising, amazing, astonishing, sister, how I cannot remember a single thing from the Murli. I heard the whole Murli, I'm sitting in front of you, but I don't remember anything. And it is so surprising. And then he said, and you know, sister, even when I'm walking on the street, I hear something around me, it gets registered in my head. But Murli, I don't know what happens with it. Because even the even the points in the Murli don't sit in the buddhi if it is unclean and impure. So this is a quality of Baba's knowledge, and Baba says that this truth that Baba is telling us will not we will not be able to remember the whole Murli, and then B, we will not be able to imbibe it in a manner that it becomes part of our awareness. Because the truth that Baba is telling us is very powerful. It is very liberating. The truth that Baba is telling us is very divine. It has the possibility of making us divine, powerful, and very, very, it has the capacity of changing us from a human to a deity in our awareness, in our thought, in our speech, in our action. But that truth doesn't sit in our buddhi because it is unclean and impure. And then how to make it clean and pure is just by surrender. So again, yoga and daily Murli and submitting to the process that Baba tells us. So Baba tells us 4 things: knowledge, yoga, imbibing purity, and then seva. So if you just surrender to Baba and do as he says, just like Brahma Baba did, then Baba cleans our buddhi and we are able to see and understand and hold in our awareness that which doesn't sit in our buddhi right now. Yes, and you see that so I think Einstein is the one who said it, and he said that 70% of the reality is non-physical, that which you can't see. And he was a human, he was a human whose awareness was just a little better than other humans. And then so he said, according to his understanding, there was 70% to what we couldn't see and it existed. And our intellects could only see the 30%, or he's not even talking about what we can physically see, even through research and science and all of that stuff, we have been able to discern 30% of the world that exists. That's what he said. And we are operating with that 30% of knowledge. And obviously, if you operate with 30% of the knowledge, then how much would be the attainment? Because half knowledge is very dangerous also. So I think the attainment would be 1% or less than 1%, because it's a very distorted awareness of things. And then Baba gives us the whole truth. And just think about when Baba comes, Baba just gives us the whole truth like this. He doesn't even reserve anything. He just gives the whole truth to us right away. The whole truth about my whole existence. So I'm not this. This is just a small bit of my whole existence. Yes, I'm a deity. and I was the seed in the soul world. And I have taken 84 births, and 2,500 of them have been in that world of perfect peace and purity and love. And he just opens everything for us and says, there, that is you. And then this world that you see is not limited to this. There is a soul world from which you have come, and then there is a soul world which you have to go back to, and then there is a subtle region where your angelic form is sitting, and you can go and meet your angelic form, and you are going to be an angel at the end of this Brahmin life. So that's already there. And then he tells us that as soon as you finish this, you're going to forget this, and then your deity role will begin. And you will rule in the kingdom, never knowing you met Baba. Never knowing that Baba used to teach you and used to come to class, and Baba changed you from a human to a deity, and you will, in a snap of the finger, you'll forget it. And Baba says that nobody in the world knows that on this very land, deities walked and lived, and we were those deities, and nature used to serve us with love and obeisance, and we used to rule the world in happiness. And then Baba says that nobody knows that God comes at the end of Kali Yuga, where children have forgotten themselves, and then he enters a human body, and then he speaks the knowledge of the three worlds and the past, present, and future, and teaches us how to become pure again, how to connect with Baba and take the knowledge and the power to go back to our purity and divinity. So Baba says the world doesn't know all these things, and I give you all this knowledge right away as I come. But it doesn't sit in your intellect. Yes? Just imagine a soul who has been afraid of death for 63 births is being told that you are imperishable. And we say, yes, I am a soul, I am imperishable, but if death comes, because it doesn't sit, and if it sat in my buddhi that I am imperishable, all my fears just vanish. So Baba says, I am telling you that truth which is going to set you free. We have heard these sayings, truth sets you free, truth is power, yes, truth is, and people say that, the truth is stranger than fiction. So we have heard all these things. We've heard truth is stranger than fiction. We know truth is power. We know truth sets us free, but the ocean of truth tells us the truth, and it doesn't sit in the buddhi. Because the buddhi is not clean and pure. And as it gets cleaned and pured, because fortunately we surrender. So, I sometimes, so when COVID came, there were some phone calls that I received, and then somebody said, it is so interesting that you people knew that this is God, and and God is teaching you, and God told you that this is happening, this is going to happen, and there will be these times, and then times will only get worse, and these things, and what you need to do in those times. So I said, you see, even we didn't know this is God or whatever, but it was our fortune that made us think maybe this is God, so let me just do as he says. So, nobody knows. Do we know? The ones who are sitting also feel, there is a knowing which is not knowing. So we don't know, and yet our fortune makes us think that, okay, let's suppose this is God. So let's just do as he says. Anyways, what am I losing? And then slowly you start doing as he says, and then that is what cleans your buddhi. And that's fortune. That's why Baba says, your fortune makes you make the effort. And that effort cleans your buddhi, and then the reality which was never visible starts getting visible. And then you see, now we are in a place where obviously I can only see as much as I think I can see, and there could be more, but then we can see most of the things. Now we know, yes, I was a deity, I'm going to become a deity. And we don't ask for proof. It's a deep knowing that comes from, this continuous practice. And then we know that I am imperishable. Nobody can kill me, so there is no fear. And then there is this knowing of karma, vikarm. Nobody has to tell you that you will suffer if you do this. I know impurity is not for me. So all of these things start making sense slowly, gradually. But I think the key is surrender. And all of you who hear it from your heart, that just do as Baba says. So, sometimes there is this deep calling from the heart that just do as Baba says. Wake up in the morning, listen to Murli. And it's our fortune that drives us and puts us into that machinery of which cleans the buddhi. So this is what Baba says. And Baba says today, when your intellects become clean and pure, then your explanation of the Father will sit in the intellect. The more effort you make and the more the alloy is removed, the more the explanation given by the Father will sit in your intellects. As yet, you children have scarcely reached the Sato stage. So Baba says, we were Sato Pradhan, the purest, and then we came Sato, Rajo, Tamo, and Tamo Pradhan. Now Baba says you have to make a return journey. So from Tamo Pradhan, you will get cleaned into Tamo, then Rajo, then Sato Pradhan. And Baba says, as yet, children have not even reached Sato. And then Baba says, each one's effort is individual. Some are Sato and others are still Tamo. However, you have to become Sato Pradhan. And if you just surrender to that machinery which cleans, yes, if you just surrender to Baba's Shrimat, then we will allow ourselves to be Sato Pradhan. And then Baba tells a law today. So Baba says, only when they know these things are they able to understand how a new world comes about. There is definitely day and night. It would definitely be half and half. This is one of God's laws and it definitely has to be explained. So you look in nature. So, everything in the world is cyclic. Nothing is constant. Yes, and it is cyclic. Always there are phases and it returns to the same thing. Yes, you look at the moon, there is waxing, there is waning, and then it returns to the same thing. It returns to the full moon. There is this seasons, there is this whole cycle of seasons, and then they come to the same thing. There is the day and night, the chakra of day and night. So night changes into day, day changes into night. So everything in the world moves in cycles. And in the cycle, there are phases, and after those phases, they return to the original thing. And Baba says, in this world also, there is this cycle. So, there is this golden age, silver age, copper age, iron age, and then golden age. So, this is a cycle. And then Baba also talks about half and half. So, Baba says that there is always justice in the drama. So it cannot be that if we come in the beginning, we will have half happiness and then half sorrow, but somebody who comes later will only have sorrow. No. Baba says, whenever a soul comes, so a soul has a fixed part. So let's say a soul's part is that of 2000 years on the stage. Okay, so they come in the Dwapar Yuga, in the Copper Age. Then for 1000 years there will be happiness, and 1000 years there will be sorrow. So Baba says, whenever an actor comes, half the part of their journey is a happy part and another half is sorrow. But of course, deities see absolute happiness, but yes, ones who come after the Copper Age cannot see absolute happiness, because there is no absolute happiness. It is a vicious world. But there'll still be happiness, and there'll still be relative happiness. So, relative happiness and then relative sorrow. That's what they will see. And Baba says today that, and have you seen that when sannyasis come, so, there, even in Kali Yuga, there are people who you can feel are vibrating at a higher frequency. So, there are sadhus, sannyasis, there are healers, and there are people who you can see that they have certain abilities which kind of indicates their purity. And that's because they are new souls. They have just come from the soul world. So obviously, whenever a soul comes, the soul is in its Sato Pradhan state. So, it's not the Sato Pradhan state or the deity stage, but its Sato Pradhan stage. The soul is in its purity. So obviously, purity makes you eligible for peace and happiness. And when in Kali Yuga you are capable of peace and happiness, naturally it's not small. So you can kind of share it through your drishti, and you touch the water, it heals somebody, because that purity and happiness is a direct consequence of your purity, because you came right now, just now. So that's what is the law. And Baba says this is like God's law, that every actor has half happiness and half sorrow. You are entitled that way. So Baba says nobody can take that away from any soul. So nobody can say that there is injustice in the drama for me. So, we say, yes, we are fortunate because 2500 years we became a deity, but then somebody who is coming later has their own fortune. So in Kali Yuga, they are, when they come, they are pure for some time, and that's magical. So that's their fortune. So Baba says, everybody, the drama is very just and clear, and it's like this law operating. And then in the Murli, so Baba talks about many things today which is related to our intellect, and how, Baba tells us how you know things that people don't know now, and like Brahma Baba becoming the chariot for Shiv Baba, and how Shiv Baba is giving us the knowledge for the new creation through Brahma Baba, or whether it is about the glory of Bharat and how Bharat was the land of deities. So Baba says all of these things people don't know. And then Baba today says that, Baba says, you should never leave Bab Dada. Baba may say something to you children and would then instantly give you a lot of love. Baba doesn't hold anything in his heart against you children. He only teaches you in order to give you guidance. So, Baba, it's not like Baba only gives love. He gives guidance also. And very firm guidance, very strict guidance. But what is the difference between a human and Baba? So when Baba gives a guidance, he gives it, but he doesn't hold anything in his heart against the child. So, when Baba sees us making mistakes, he gives us very strict, firm and clear guidance. And the guidance is so clear that when you listen to the Murli, you feel like Baba is scolding you. So if you have a guilty conscience, then it will look like Baba knows and Baba has figured out and Baba is scolding me. And I remember, and children have very clean conscience. So there is this one child, and I asked him, do you read the Murli or do you listen to the Murli? He's some 11, 12 years of age. The age of the body. And then I asked him, do you listen to the Murli every day? He said, no, I don't listen to the Murli because whenever I listen to the Murli, I don't do it regularly. So whenever I listen to the Murli, Baba only talks about why I didn't listen to the Murli. And it looks like he's after me and he's scolding me because I didn't listen to the Murli for the last 5 days. And then I don't want to listen to him because he's only scolding me. So he says that whenever I listen to the Murli, he scolds me about not listening to the Murli. So I've chosen not to listen. So then I encouraged him to listen to the Murli. That's another story. But you see, we understand, children figure out, and Baba gives us the guidance. But the beauty is, Baba gives us the guidance because he understands this child has to be uplifted. But we also feel the love. And because Baba doesn't have anything in his heart against us, that's why we also are able to take that guidance in positivity. Yes, and I asked that child after he said that, I said, but do you understand Baba loves you? So he said, yes, he loves me. But he is always telling me to do that which is not possible for me to do consistently. So I said, that's an aspect of his love. He has to encourage you. If he doesn't encourage you, you will not make good of yourself. So I said, yes, he loves me and I can feel it. So Baba comes from a place where he gives you a teaching and still you can feel his love behind that teaching. And Baba says his children should also be like that. So Baba doesn't tell you that don't correct or don't guide or don't encourage or uplift. We have to do that seva on behalf of Baba. But just like Baba doesn't hold any karma, any action, any behavior, any memory of anybody's, any bodily human being in our heart. So just like Baba doesn't hold anything, we also don't have to hold anything. And just do what's our duty. So that's one teaching that Baba gives us. And then There are many questions that are always asked about the Toli. So today Baba says, Toli is given here to you children because he is the unlimited father. When a physical father is going home from the market, he would definitely remember his children and take one or another Toli for them. So, there are elders in the family. So while I was growing up, there used to be grandfather and, his brothers and grandfathers who were not directly grandfathers, but, the cousins of grandfathers. And whenever we met them, so they used to give a piece of jaggery. So, and that piece of jaggery was so enticing at that time that we went to them in anticipation of that piece of jaggery. And Baba says, this is the practice. So, whenever you meet your father or your grandparents, they give you something, or the father comes from the market, he brings something for you. So Baba says, that's the Toli. So when you go to Baba's house, you get a sweet, dry sweet, because that's the practice. You get it from your parents' place. So Baba says, that's why I give you Toli. And then there is the slogan today, the reason for obstacles in service and relationships and connections is old sanskars. And so have disinterest in those sanskars. So, since Baba has now shown us the full picture, we know ourselves in our entirety. We know the old me and we know the new me. Okay, and then you can figure out what is my divine sanskars and what are my old sanskars that I have within me, right? And then, do you know how to disown your sanskar? So earlier we used to take ownership of our old sanskars. We used to say, I have this quality of getting very stressed, and I have this nature of worrying, and I have this strong dislike for people who lie. So all of that is your sanskar, which is old, which is based on body consciousness, and you kind of claimed it to be your own. And now Baba says, you still have those sanskars, but never take ownership of them. Just have disinterest in them. So there is a very beautiful way in which I like to put it, which is, I am peace, I have peacelessness, but I am peace. So, I may have many sanskars, but I am not them. I'm working on them. Okay, so just have disinterest in them. Don't own it. Don't claim it to be your own. And then when you do this internal work, when you just identify with the new you and have disinterest in the old you, then, if you show your disinterest in something, it feels ignored and goes away. So just do that. And then anything that you do, your relationships, your work, your connections, seva, anything that you do is not fully successful because of your old sanskars. And once you do away with them, then Baba says, if you touch mud, it turns into gold. That's the capacity of an angel. So Baba says, just don't allow your old sanskars to interfere and take away that power from you. Om Shanti.